I need to tell you something before we get into this video. This video here, it's personal. Not personal like I read some research and I found it interesting, but personal like I have lived inside of what I am about to describe. Personal like I have watched women I love, women who are brilliant and strong and accomplished, stay in situations that were slowly dismantling them from the inside out. And no one around them called it what it was. Because in those cases, he never hit her, so it didn't count. Now, that is the lie that I want to destroy today. Before I say anything else, I want to share something with you. Many women, young and old, suffer miserably in relationships and still choose to stay. Now, they stay because their brains, their bodies, and their hearts, they're invested and they've been trained. They mistake unpredictability for attachment and certainly mistake pain for devotion. Trained to mistake unpredictability for attachment and pain for devotion. I said it again because I want that to sit with you. But that within itself, it's not weakness. That is a nervous system that has been conditioned over time to survive inside a dynamic that was never safe. And if you felt something shift in your body when I said that, please keep watching because this video was made just for you. So let's start here with what abuse actually is. Because most women are waiting for a bruise before they give themselves permission to call it abuse. And the bruise may never come. You see, abuse is any pattern of behavior that one person uses to maintain power and control over another. Power and control, all right? Power and control, it doesn't require a fist. Power and control does not require a hospital visit. Power and control does not require a police report. Power and control, it could be a whisper. It can happen with a look across the dinner table that makes your stomach drop, right? It can happen in a text message that sounds perfectly reasonable to anyone else, but it makes you feel afraid to your core. It can happen in the silence after you say something honest and he makes you feel like you're too sensitive or you're too dramatic or you're just too much. Uh, it can happen to women who run companies, women who run teams, women who are raising children, women who are raising children alone, women with advanced degrees and beautiful homes and lives that look completely fine from the outside. Now, what I want to do in this video is name every form and every type of abuse because you need to hear all of them, right? So that you don't think that abuse is merely at the hands of a fist. Now, the first form of abuse that I want to talk about today is emotional abuse. And this is when he uses your feelings against you, when he knows exactly what you're afraid of and he uses it as a weapon, when he withholds affection as punishment, when he creates an emotional climate so unpredictable that you spend all of your day, all of your energy trying to manage his mood instead of living your life, right? The second form of abuse is psychological abuse. And this is when he makes you question your own reality. When you know what you saw and he tells you that that's not what you saw. You know what you heard and he tells you, no, that's not what you heard. When you know what he said and he told you, no, you're misunderstanding him or that you've misunderstood what you heard. When your own memory starts to feel unreliable because he has contradicted it so many times. That, my love, that's called gaslighting. And it is one of the most insidious forms of abuse that exists because it does not feel like he's hurting you. But what it is doing, it's taking you apart. It's taking apart the ability that you have to trust yourself. The third form of abuse is verbal abuse. And whew, this one, this is when his words become a weapon. Not always in the most obvious way. Sometimes it is, the constant criticism dressed up as concern. Sometimes it's the sarcasm that has a sharp edge enough to cut. Sometimes it is in the way he speaks to you in front of other people and then tells you later that you are overreacting, and he rudely dismisses you when you bring it up, making you feel even small. Sometimes it's in the name calling or the insults or the personal attacks that he hurls at you behind closed doors or in front of company. And then maybe later he's like, oh, well, what's the problem? I was just joking. Or, it's really not that serious. Or why are you being sensitive? That one hurts. The fourth form of abuse is financial abuse. And this is when he controls all of the money so that he can control you. This is when he monitors every single dollar you spend, when he makes you ask for what you need as though you were a child. Financial abuse is when he suffocates you or makes you feel suffocated in your own career and in your own earning potential, which honestly is logistically terrifying. This one in particular is devastating because it does not just hurt your heart, it shrinks you and it shrinks your self confidence. The fifth abuse, that's a spiritual one. This is diabolical because this is when he uses faith and God and scripture and your own spiritual values as instruments of control. This is when he tells you that God wants you to submit and use that to silence you. This is when he weaponizes your beliefs to keep you compliant. When your spirituality, when your relationship with God, which is supposed to be your source of strength, becomes a cage. The sixth form of abuse, it is sexual coercion and intimate abuse. This is when intimacy is used as a bargaining chip, a punishment, or on demand. When you do not feel free to say no without a consequence. Sexual abuse is when your body becomes space where he needs to matter more than you do. This is where sex and intimacy feels like something that's more in alignment with survival than something that is in alignment with pleasure that you intentionally choose and that you enjoy. Now, the seventh form of abuse is isolation, and that's a big one because this is when he slowly, methodically, and strategically separates you from everyone who loves you and everyone who you love. When your friendship starts to feel like too much trouble for your relationship, and when your family, when they don't approve of him, somehow that's your fault, as if he's not the jerk. Mm. When you look up one day and you realize that the only person in your life that you really talk to is him. Baby girl, rest assured in knowing that he designed it that way. Now that we've gone through all forms of abuse, all seven of them, I want to take this opportunity to talk to you about something that research has confirmed that your internal wisdom and your body already knows. And that is that the nervous system can confuse danger with intimacy. Now, stay with me here because this is important. This is where it becomes a little bit technical. But when love and fear and relief and cruelty all come from the same person, the body starts to wire them together. The relief you feel when he's finally kind after a few days of coldness, it's not just emotional, it's neurological. You see, your brain releases the same chemicals that it releases in genuine moments of connection. So your body literally cannot tell the difference between love and relief when it comes to surviving him. And that is not your fault. That is your biology being manipulated by your circumstance. And it explains why you can know absolutely know in your mind that this relationship is destroying you, and you still feel like you cannot leave. You still feel like you would rather fix it than face life without him. You still feel like the good moments are worth all of the devastation in between. And no, you're not crazy. You're not weak, but your nervous system has been hijacked. And that, my love, requires more than willpower to undo. Whew. I know that was heavy to hear. Hell, it was heavy for me to say it. All right. But I'm not done. And I want you to stay with me just a little bit longer. All right. Because there's a term in psychology called intermittent reinforcement. Google it if you have to. However, I am well learned in this space because I believe this is the work that a behavioral psychiatrist called B.F. Skinner basically founded his principles on. And I need you to understand what I'm about to share with you because it will explain so much of what you've experienced. Intermittent reinforcement is what happens when kindness and cruelty comes from the same source unpredictably. When you never know which version of him that you're going to get. When some days he is the man of your dreams, he's the man you fell in love with, and other days he is someone who makes your life miserable, right? When the good moments come just enough to make you stay, and the bad moments come just often enough to keep you off balance. Now, here is the devastating truth about intermittent reinforcement. Again, Google it, like I said. It is more psychologically addictive than constant kindness. And no, that's not a theory, my loves. This is science. The brain becomes more locked into when reward is unpredictable because every moment of goodness feels like a relief, so deep, so profound that it overrides the memory of the harm that came before it. And this is why you replay the good moments. This is why you tell yourself that the man you saw on that good day is the real him. This is why you keep waiting for that good man you saw on that good day to come back. The version of him that you fell in love with, that you're waiting for him to come back to you. But here's what I need you to hear. Both versions of the man, both are real. The good one and the evil one. The man who makes you feel loved is real, and the man who makes you have tears come down your face is also very real. They are the same man. They are the same person. And a relationship that requires you to survive the bad version and makes you turn around to have to earn the love of the good version is not love. It is a cycle, and cycles do not break by themselves. So let me share something with you that is specific to women like us, high achieving women, women who are accomplished, women who are competent and used to solving hard problems, right? We're not immune to this. And in some ways, you technically are a bit more vulnerable to it. And here's why. Everything that makes you exceptional in your work, in your career, and in your life, right? Your tolerance for difficulty, right? Your ability to find solutions, your willingness to invest in things that have not paid off yet, your capacity to carry enormous weights without showing how heavy it is. All of those strengths become liabilities inside of an abusive relationship because you're trained to fix things. I was raised to fix things, and so are you. And he is not a problem that you can fix. He is a choice that you have made to continue to make. You overfunction in the relationship the same way you overfunction with work. And how do you do that? I'm going to tell you. You manage his emotions. You anticipate his triggers. You adjust your behavior to keep the peace. You tell yourself that if you just communicate better, or if you love him a bit harder, or if you understand him more deeply, things will change. But guess what? Things will not change. He will not change because he cannot change. But because your effort is only removing the pressure that actually might motivate him to change, your competence is now costing you your peace. And nobody around you is saying that out loud because from the outside, it looks like you're handling it. But you and I both know you're not handling it, you're surviving it. And those are not the same things. So I want to talk to you about hypervigilance now because this is one of the most painful things that abuse does to women, and almost no one talks about it. No one names it. Hypervigilance is when your nervous system is so conditioned by unpredictability that it is always scanning for danger. You're always looking for it. You can read his mood before he walks in the door. You can feel the shift in the air when he's about to go cold. I mean, you can hear the specific tone in his voice that means tonight, it's going to be a hard one. You have become so attuned to him that you can predict his emotional weather before he has even said a single word. And from the outside, that might look like empathy. It might look like emotional intelligence, right? It might even be something, I don't know, other people would admire about you, that you're able to understand him before he even understands himself. But here's the truth, it is not empathy, it's a survival strategy. And you did not develop that skill because you were just naturally gifted at reading people. No, love. You developed it because your safety inside of that relationship depended on you knowing what was coming before it arrived. And the tragedy is that you are so busy reading him that you have stopped reading yourself. You do not know what you feel anymore because you have spent so long managing what he feels. You do not know what you need because all of his needs have consumed every room that he walks in. You have disappeared inside the project or the task of keeping him stable. Now, let me say this because I know this one runs deep, but abuse does rewire the way you think about yourself. And you might be saying to yourself, no, that's not true. And the reason why you think it's not true is because it does not happen all at once. It happens slowly, incrementally, in 1,000 small moments where you were told directly or indirectly that your feelings were wrong, that your perceptions were off, your needs were too much, your reactions were the problem, and over time you started to believe it. Not because you're gullible, but because repetition is powerful. I mean, that's how we learn. Because when people who are supposed to love you the most tells you something about yourself often enough, it starts to feel like truth. So now you question yourself even before you speak. You edit your feelings before you can even express them. You minimize your experience before anyone else gets the chance to. Ugh, I felt that one because this one hurts me deeply because I see women do this all the time. They minimize, they downplay, they make their own experiences, their own emotions extraordinarily small just to cope and survive. And what's even deeper, what really cuts to the white meat is that you have become your own abuser because now you have internalized his voice. And that is one of the most devastating things that psychological abuse does. You no longer hear your voice talking to you anymore, you hear his. It does not just hurt you from the outside, it literally instills something inside of you that continues to work even when he is no longer in the room. And breaking free from him is only half the work. The other half is uninstalling the voice that he left behind. Now, I want to take a moment here to speak directly to the woman who is watching this and is not sure if what she is experiencing qualifies as abuse. If you're asking yourself whether it counts, baby girl, it counts. Pain does not need a permission slip, all right? Your experience does not need to be validated by a bruise, by a broken rib, a black eye, a police report, or someone else's horror story that's worse than yours. If you feel afraid of his moods, it counts as abuse. If you feel like you're always walking on eggshells, it counts as abuse. If you feel like you cannot say what you actually think without consequences of being minimized or made to feel small, it counts as abuse. If you have slowly stopped being yourself because it was safer to become who he needed you to be than who you actually are, beautiful, that counts as abuse. If you feel more lonely inside of your relationship than you've ever felt alone, my love, that's abuse. You see, you are not too sensitive, honey. You are not overreacting. You are a woman whose reality has been systematically invalidated by someone who was supposed to make you feel safe, by someone who was supposed to be your safe place, by someone who was supposed to be your soft landing. And you deserve so much better than that. Not eventually, not someday, not later on. You deserve so much better than that now. God, I feel it. It's heavy. So I want to shift gears a little bit and I want to talk about why women stay, because this is where the judgment usually lives. And I want to replace that judgment with understanding. All right. Women do not stay in abusive relationships because they're stupid. All right. You're brilliant. These women are brilliant. Women do not stay because they don't love themselves. You and I both know you love yourself, right? Women do not stay because they enjoy suffering. Hell, who enjoys suffering? No one. Women stay because leaving is genuinely complicated. It's not easy. And anyone who has not been inside what you're going through does not get to simplify it. All right? A lot of women stay in these types of abusive relationships because of fear. Yes, fear of what he will do when you leave, which is huge. You fear for your life. You fear for your children's life. You fear for financial devastation. You fear for not just your children's lives, but you fear losing your children. You fear that nobody will believe you. You fear that the version of him that everybody else sees will make you look like you're the problem, right? Women stay because of hope. Women stay because she can remember who he was in the beginning. And God, did she love the man who he was in the beginning? Because she has seen glimpses of that man that she fell in love with recently. Because she genuinely believes that love and patience and faith and God can change him, right? A lot of women stay because of shame, right? You stay because you don't want everybody in your business. You stay because you want to preserve your dignity. Because as a strong woman is not supposed to end up like this. And you don't want other people in your business because you don't want folks to know this is where you are. You stay because you have your reputation to protect. You stay because you don't want anyone to know what's going on behind closed doors. Many women stay because their nervous system has bonded to this man in a way that feels exactly like love. Because leaving him feels like losing a part of yourself. Because the grief of that loss feels in that moment worse than the pain of staying. That is not weakness. All of that is human. It's you being a woman, and it all deserves compassion. Starting with the compassion that I want you to give yourself, right? Now, I want to talk about trauma bonding. That was a buzzword for the past few years, right? Because this is the piece that explains so much and it is so rarely discussed honestly and in a healthy way. Trauma bonding is not a character flaw. It is an actual psychological response to a specific kind of relational dynamic. When cycles of harm and repair happens repeatedly over time, the attachment that forms between a man and her abuser can be among some of the most powerful attachments that the human nervous system is capable of forming. It's more powerful in some cases than the attachment formed in a healthy and stable relationships because the brain values relief and the relief of being loved by someone who has hurt you, the relief of the cycle of him returning back to the good phase, that is neurologically profound. And this is why women stay. And this is why when a woman leaves, she goes back. Not because the woman forgot what happened, but it's because her body has learned that relief comes from him. Her body, her mind is chasing that relief the same way it would chase any powerful source of comfort. And breaking a trauma bond, it's not as simple as just making a decision. It is a process, and it requires support. It requires time, safety, and most definitely professional help. And it also requires radical compassion for yourself throughout all of this because the pull back towards him feels real and powerful and convincing even when your mind and your heart knows better. Here's something that I want to say to the high achieving woman specifically. Your success has been used against you in ways you may not even fully recognize. He may have quietly or loudly undermined your career or your business. He may have made comments about how much you work. Oh, you work too much. You never have time for me. You never have time for us. You never have time for the kids. He creates conflict before very important professional moments as if to sabotage your success. He made you feel guilty for having ambition. He made you feel guilty for wanting to be more. He positioned your success as a threat rather than as a gift to celebrate. Or he may have done the opposite, right? He may have allowed you to carry everything financially while he contributed very little, if at all, so that your earning power became the chain that kept you tethered to him. Either way, your capacity was weaponized. And one of the most powerful things you can do as you begin to reclaim yourself is to reconnect your success to your freedom. That's right. Your success is tied to your freedom. Your financial independence is not just a career achievement, it is a lifeline to freedom. It is a thing that makes leaving possible. And I want you to honor it for being that reason. All right? Oh, God. I know you're feeling this because I'm feeling it too. But I think it's time for us to start talking about what healing actually looks like. Because I don't want to leave you in the state without giving you direction. All right? So, step one, if you're taking notes, write this down. Step one, I want you to name it. Yes, sis. You have to be willing to call it what it is. No, it's not he has issues. No, it's not we have a toxic dynamic. No, it's not. No, girl, it's complicated. No, it's not that. If what I have described today is happening to you, I want you to say the word. It's abuse. Say it. Abuse. Emotional abuse. Psychological abuse. Financial abuse. Physical abuse. Spiritual abuse. Intimacy abuse. Whatever form it takes in your life, give it a name because you cannot heal from something that you still are pretending doesn't exist. All right? Step two, stop interpreting his apologies as change. Just because he says he's sorry doesn't mean he's going to change. And this one is a hard one because his apologies, they feel real. I mean, sometimes he comes crying, apologizing with gifts. And maybe they're real in the moment, but remorse is not the same as changed behavior. Tears doesn't necessarily mean transformation. An apology that is not followed by consistently different behavior over time, well, hell, shit, it's not an apology. It is a strategy to reset the cycle, right? Watch his behavior, only his behavior over time. His words be damned. Watch his behavior because that is the only evidence that matters. Okay. Step three, I want you to build reality checks outside of your house, right? Because abuse, it thrives in isolation. That's why he wants to keep you isolated. He doesn't want you around your friends. He don't want you around your girls. He doesn't want you around your family. He wants you around him. It needs you to have no one else to compare notes with, right? So find somebody on the outside who can personally hold you accountable, who knows what's going on, and who can tell you flat out that that's not okay. Find that person. That person could be a good girlfriend. It could be a therapist, a coach. It could be a family member, somebody. It could be a support group, somebody who's willing to tell you the hard truth. All right. Someone who exists outside of him, someone that can help you stay connected to your own sense of reality because he will distort it. Guarantee you that. Right. Because one of the most healing things in the world after you have after your reality has been systematically denied and pulled from you is someone looking you in the eye and saying, I believe you. All right. Step four, rebuild your safety practically and financially. If you are in a situation where leaving feels financially impossible, you better start building your money quietly. You better start, saving your money quietly. You better open up yourself a little account on the side, have the address go to somebody else's house, have all of your mail and all of your documents that are important that shows that you're planning your exit. Have them go to your mom's house or your sister's house or your girlfriend's house. Don't have it come to the house. He doesn't need to know what you're doing. Understand what you have and what you are entitled to. All right. Build in small reserves if you can. This is not betrayal, baby girl. This is survival. You have got to get out. You've got to survive, if not for yourself, for those children. You owe it to yourself the option to leave, even if you have not yet decided to take the option, but position yourself to have the option. Okay? Step 5. Whew. Reduce your isolation deliberately. All right? Reach back out to the people he separated you from, not to explain everything. Again, you don't need everybody in your business, but just to reconnect. Pick that one girlfriend that you really had a wonderful relationship with and connect with her. Remind yourself that there are people who love you outside of him. If you can sneak away for some coffee or breakfast or brunch or lunch or dinner, do that. You need to remind yourself that your world did not actually shrink just for him. Okay? Because isolation is one of his most powerful tools of influence over you. And reconnection, that's your powerful tool of influence over yourself. All right? Step 6, make a plan. Make a plan, make a plan, make a plan. If you are ready to leave or you are even remotely thinking about leaving, do not do it impulsively. Because if there's any risk of escalation or violence, you want to make sure you plan this out to the T. Talk to a professional. Contact a domestic violence organization, even if you do not think your situation is bad enough. If it's bad enough for you to think that you need to get out, then yes, my love, it's bad enough. All right? It doesn't have to be you get a black eye or you have bruises or you have broken bones to substantiate the fact that you need to leave. All right, these organizations, they exist to help women who needs to find their way out safely, so use them. And if leaving is not yet something that you're ready to do, I don't want to say that's okay too, but the timeline honestly is yours. Okay? But know that there are people who will walk with you when you're ready. All right? Step 7, I want you to address the trauma when you do leave. Because here's the thing that no one warned you about. Leaving does not immediately make you feel free. Sometimes it gets even harder before it's easier because now everything is on you, right? In addition to everything being on you, the grief of losing that relationship, the grief associated with all the time that you invested in that relationship, even a harmful one, that grief is real. And the pullback towards him can be overwhelming. And the shame of second guessing the symptoms that has surfaced when you finally have enough safety to feel them, all of that is part of the process. So get support for the aftermath, not just support for you to leave. Okay? Because the healing that happens after you leave is where you truly get yourself back. This episode was heavy. I know it was. It was heavy for me. But before I close this video out, I want you to take something that I want you to carry with you. All right? You're not too broken to be loved well, my dear. You are not evidence that real love does not exist for women like you. You are a woman whose capacity to love has been exploited by someone who was not equipped to honor your love. He was not equipped to give you that love back. Then that says everything about him and nothing about your self-worth. All right? The love you have been giving to a man who could not receive it properly, it's still inside of you. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't get used up. It is waiting for someone somewhere safe to land. And I promise you with everything that I have, that there is a love on the other side of this that will feel nothing like what you've been surviving. A love that doesn't require you to shrink, right? A love that does not punish you for having needs, for having wants, for having desires. A love that does not make you feel crazy for trusting your own judgment. A love that, I don't know, does not confuse your strength as a threat. A love that sees you fully and chooses you anyway, not in spite of who you are, but because of who you are. That love is real. It exists. And if you want it, you are worthy of it right now, exactly as you are, being exactly who you are, with every scar this season has left you with. All right? You're not too much. You've just been with somebody who is not enough, boo. Okay? Remember that. And there is life and joy and real love waiting for you on the other side of this. You just have to go get it. Why? Because you deserve it. And I'm rooting for you with every fiber in my being. I am rooting for you with everything that I have. Okay? So, if you reach the end of this video, then something real inside of you resonated with it. And if it did, please share it. Not just with women who you think are in obvious abusive situations. Share it with the woman who seems fine, right? Share it with a friend whose relationship you've always felt could, slightly look like it's uneasy, but you could never put your finger on as to why. Share it with the sister who defends him a little too quickly. Share it with the woman who has slowly disappeared from her own life. She needs to hear this. She does. And if you are ready to do some of that deeper work for yourself, to truly heal from what you've been through, to build the kind of love that you actually deserve, I'm here. All right? Click on the link below, and this is where we start. So, with that being said, I love you. I see you. And I am here for you. All right. I look forward to seeing you in the next beautiful and in the next video. And as always, my dear, stay beautiful. Mwah. I'll see you in the next one.